We say knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Or in terms of the alphabet, we talk about zigzag, zig. Zigzag, zig is that's like navigating the landscape. You know what I'm saying? Or if a bear is chasing you, shit, you better zigzag, zig. You know? But it's like knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And when you gain knowledge, right, and you start to learn certain things and you're developing a sound foundation where you can speak with confidence and surety about the things that you're learning, then comes the wisdom. Then comes the discernment. Then you begin to realize like the time and place to share certain things. And with that wisdom comes experience, because you also learn that there were times when you put your foot in your mouth. There's some humility that comes with that. So when you first gain knowledge, it's just like the first grade sun creating this universe. The sun we see today in our solar system, that's not the first grade sun. The first grade sun, or let there be light, was all light. That's how you get knowledge. Like, you just all light and you just spitting out parts of yourself. You know what I'm saying? But then after time, some of those parts of yourself still stay vibrant and they shine, and those become stars. And then other parts cool or become planets or whatever. But after a little amount of time, that first grade sun becomes the sun that's central to a solar system, which has more of a degree of refinement to it. And you learn that over time. So it's like zigzag, zig is the knowledge, is that first grade sun. It's the foundation. It's all light. And that's how you become emboldened with knowledge or truth. You want to share that shit with everybody. You know, but then comes the wisdom. You know, wisdom is also symbolic to time. It's discernment. It's experience. And with the creation of wisdom comes that experience, comes that discernment of knowing when to share, when not to share. And then sometimes you put your foot in your mouth. So then you become wiser, like, oh, okay, I shouldn't be talking about politics and religion at work. Or I shouldn't be talking about this right here. Or, you know, maybe I shouldn't have said that to grandma. You know, I should just went to church with grandma. You know what I'm saying? So that's when you get the understanding. That's when you start comprehending, like, oh, I see how this knowledge is supposed to be now. Zig, zag, zig. Now, what's the purpose of that? Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding bring forth equality, right? Now you start to learn balance and a sense of fairness and homeostasis with the way in which you live this way of life. But you go through that experience first. It's like a zigzag zig. You're testing what you know against what you are experiencing. You know what I mean? So that is one of the reasons why, okay, so if you look at that 26th letter in the alphabet, wisdom, equality. What it's showing you is that wisdom in zigzag zig, that experience is what allows you to recognize what homeostasis, balance, and fairness is. Because the knowledge and understanding is one and the same. The knowledge is the foundation, but that foundation has to be tested. You know, it's kind of like you look at a blueprint of a home, right? You can build the structure of a home. That's the blueprint. But what really brings it to life, what really allows you to experience that home is the decorum. That's the wisdom. That's the way. Then when you see it for what it is, it's like, now I can really appreciate that foundation now. You know? But you go through that experience. That's the zigzag zig. But like I said, it's the 26th letter in the alphabet, and that is wisdom, equality. So now if you look at wisdom, equality, you bring it up to build or destroy. That process itself is something that you consistently go through. So me sharing this right now, it's not like you go through zigzag zig once. You go through that each and every day. Each and every day, what you know and what you are knowing becomes tested against that experience so that you can see it or understand it for what it is. So the knowledge is a zig, the wisdom is a zag, and then the understanding is a zig again. Or seeing it helps you reflect back upon that foundation. That's something that you consistently go through with learning anything. Everything that you learn has to be tested so that you can see what it actually is. Zig, zag, zig. Once you go through that process, now you could evaluate, like I said, wisdom equality. You see that the wisdom or the zag in that experience is what gave you that sense of balance or homeostasis. That comes to build or destroy. Meaning, ultimately, once you go through that process, you can see whether that was an asset or a liability. Whether that is something that you can build upon or whether that was something that was destructive. That is the evidence of the zigzag zig. So it's kind of like, look at a scenario that you may experience in life, right? Where you look at something and it's like, okay, I'm going to go through it. Zigzag zig. Once you get out on the other side, what evidence that you have from being out on the other side is either going to be build or destroy. You might have gone into a relationship. Once you get on the other side, you can look back and be like, damn, that shit was kind of destructive. I could have did this, I could have did that better, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. Or you could have went through that, stood there and looked back on the other side like, man, I did good. I did what I was supposed to. You know, that turned out right. So the wisdom equality, borns, build, or destroy. So now I'm building about a few different things, but I'm going to go to this. The build or destroy degree in the 1 to 40s asks us what makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. Now, down in that lesson, it says there are some layers of currents real cold and warm, others very swift and changeable. When this mist strikes a cold current, it becomes solid ice and small round drops and forms, or in a light fluffy form is called snow. So when you're talking about weather, right, you're talking about the environment or the atmosphere. You have many different layers of currents, some real cold and warm, others very swift and changeable, right? And zigzag zig is also symbolic to those many different layers of currents. You have some that are real cold, some that are warm, others very swift and changeable. And you only know about that when you actually go through it. But when that mist strikes one of those currents, it becomes what it is. That's why the knowledge has to be tested against the wisdom, or what you know has to be tested against experience. Because when it strikes, it becomes. That is the difference between some theoretical shit and some shit that's actual. You can sit and theorize about, man, Tom Brady should have did this. He should have did that. LeBron should have did this, did that, blah, blah, blah. You can armchair quarterback and armchair point guard all day. It's not until you get in that game where you can really test that theoretical perspective against the actual. Then you will experience those many different layers of currents. Because when that mist strikes, it becomes. That knowledge through wisdom becomes understanding. That's why wisdom is also symbolic to the way. Layers of currents. And I know that I'm going through some math like that and some lessons and shit, but some of y'all that didn't catch some of that, you might have to go back and pick up what I was saying. But yeah, I was just building about today's mathematics and talking about struggle math. So I wouldn't be able to make those type of correlations or connections and show you the sequence of how the mathematics and the alphabet and the lessons relate to one another if I wasn't studious enough in study. If I didn't have the type of enlightener and he didn't have the type of enlightener and he didn't have the type of enlightener that wasn't on no struggle mathematics shit. If I didn't have that, then I'd be sitting here trying to make shit sound good. And that's beautiful about the way that this culture is expressed, because it's not hinging. It's not dependent upon a person's being convicted or a person being convinced. It is what it is. I'm just sharing something because these are procedures that I've identified in life. Whether a person wants to believe it or not, that ain't got shit to do with me. Put your own theories to the test. Go through your zigzag zig. And then when you look back on it, you see whether if you built or destroyed. It's simple.